All right. So have you ever had one of those projects where, things just kind of start going off the rails?
Yeah.
And it's because a subcontractor just wasn't quite living up to what they said they
That
could do.
happens all the time.
And you're like, this is a mess.
Right.
Well, today we're diving deep into how to
Yeah.
avoid those kinds of situations by really getting a good handle on
Yes.
monitoring subcontractor and vendor performance
Absolutely.
in the construction industry.
Really important topic.
Yeah. And the really interesting thing is that our source material for today's deep dive
Okay.
comes from the Gold Seal training series
Interesting.
on business skills.
I like it.
And this stuff
Yeah.
it's like a masterclass in upping your game in construction,
Right.
especially when you think about long-term planning,
Uh-huh.
marketing, even bidding strategy.
It's all connected.
It really is.
Yeah.
All this stuff comes together.
I think sometimes people don't think about like how these things are all related, but it's,
Yeah. It's all one big picture.
yeah, big picture for sure.
So what do you think is the biggest reason that we
Okay.
really need to focus on this monitoring performance thing?
I think it's because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we all want to make sure that projects get done
Right.
on time,
On time.
on budget, and they meet the quality that we're expecting,
Uh-huh.
and it impacts the company's reputation
It's your
for sure. And
bottom line.
yeah, your profitability, your bottom line, and it even can help you secure
Make it.
better bids in the future.
So I think one of the coolest things that this Gold Seal stuff
Yeah.
really emphasizes is that it's not just about like,
Okay.
okay, we're monitoring, we're checking boxes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's really about building these really solid relationships.
Yeah, it's about collaboration, right?
Yeah, with the subcontractors and vendors.
Yeah, it's not adversarial.
And the idea
It
that
should be a win-win.
everyone's on the same team working towards a common goal,
Yeah.
pretty powerful. So,
I think that's super important because if you
Right.
go into it with that mindset,
right.
then you're going to get better results.
Exactly.
Than if you go into it with a combative mindset.
Yeah, and they even break it down into some
Yeah,
key steps to make this happen.
absolutely.
So the first one is like,
Okay.
okay, we got to make sure we set the expectation.
Yeah, set them clear right up front.
Yeah, super clear right from the get-go.
You got to
And we're talking about
be crystal clear.
crystal clear
Hey,
quality,
yeah.
deadlines,
Safety, all that good stuff.
safety,
Ready.
legal compliance,
All the legal compliance.
all of that,
Everything.
everything.
I got to put all in writing.
And they even talk about
Yeah.
these standard contracts like the
Yeah.
CCDC 2 and 5A.
Oh, yeah, the CCDC contracts.
What
What are those? That's all about.
Those are really important. In Canada, I mean, I know you're in Canada, but
For listeners, that CCDC stands for the Canadian Construction Documents Committee.
okay.
Yeah, and they develop
Makes sense.
standardized contracts that are used
Okay.
across the industry.
So everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, and it helps to
Consistent.
create a level playing field.
Yeah.
And, the CCDC 2, that's used for stipulating construction work.
Oh, okay.
And then the CCDC 5A is used for subcontracts.
Interesting. Okay, so we got that in place.
And so it outlines the roles
Right. What's next?
and responsibilities and the legal frameworks for everyone involved. So
Okay.
it helps with the performance expectations and the potential issues too.
So it's kind of like, okay, we've got this great foundation
Exactly.
with our contract.
It's all set up.
Now what do we actually do to keep things
Well, now you got to keep track of things.
right, to keep
So
track?
you got to track the progress.
Yeah, how do we track progress?
And the way you do that is you use tools like
Okay.
detailed project schedules, daily reports from the site,
Okay.
inspection logs.
So it's a lot of like documentation and
It's a lot of information.
yeah, and recording.
Right.
Yeah, keeping track of everything.
And it gives you this constant stream of information so you can see
Gotcha.
if there are any
Yeah.
potential problems. And you can spot them early on.
Yeah. And I would imagine like actually going,
Yeah, you got to go to the site.
going on site
You got to have meetings
and having meetings
with the subcontractors.
with your subcontractor.
It's super important for communication, yeah.
So what happens if
Absolutely.
things just aren't
Yeah.
working out?
Well, this is where you have to address those performance issues.
Yeah, how do you actually do that?
And so you've got to do it effectively.
Right.
So this is where the notices in writing come in.
Okay. Yeah, I remember you.
Yeah,
had them.
remember those CCDC contracts we talked about?
Yeah, those contracts
So they've got this whole structured way
too,
to document.
and address performance concerns.
So it's like all built right in there.
Yeah, and I can give you an example
Oh, yeah, for sure.
from a project that I was on one time where
Weird.
a vendor was consistently delivering materials late.
Oh, that's a classic.
And it was causing all these delays. And so
Yeah.
we had to issue a notice in writing
Uh-huh.
And it outlined the issue and the impact that it was having
Oh, okay.
and what corrective actions needed to happen.
Interesting.
And it actually really helped to get things back on track
Yeah.
without damaging the relationship.
That's cool. So it's not
You don't want to
necessarily like a
you don't want to be aggressive about it, right? You just want to work.
Sure kill.
You're trying to work together
Yeah.
to fix the problem.
Yeah, it's like a reminder.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what's happening. This is how it's affecting us.
Yeah.
We need to work together to fix it.
It's a communication tool.
Exactly, right? More than a
punishment kind of thing.
yeah, like
You're in big trouble now.
right.
It's not like that.
Exactly. So
And this is actually where I think
uh,
the whole monitoring process gets really
yeah.
interesting, fascinating, even
Yeah.
because all the data that you gather,
Okay.
the reports, the inspections,
Yeah.
even those notices in writing,
Yeah.
they tell a story.
Oh, that's cool.
And so,
Yeah, like a historical record.
yeah, if you analyze that information, you can spot trends
Oh, interesting.
in subcontractor performance.
Okay.
You can see areas that need improvement,
Uh-huh.
and you can even identify training needs
Wow.
for subcontractors and vendors.
That's really cool.
So it takes monitoring
Yeah.
from being this reactive
Yeah.
chore
Yeah.
into this proactive tool
Uh-huh.
for continuous improvement.
I like that.
Right.
Yeah, it's like you're always
learning, you're always getting better.
yeah.
You're not just putting out
You
fire.
guys learning from those fires. Yeah. Okay. This is what I think is like super interesting about all this.
Yeah. Huh.
Is the idea that you can
What's that?
use all of this information that you're gathering
Mm-hmm.
to actually inform your bidding process.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
So like imagine you're trying to choose
Yeah.
between a few different vendors.
Yeah.
You've got this whole track record.
Exactly.
You're not just like,
You're not guessing.
yeah,
You're not going with your gut.
you know exactly what they've done
You're using data
in the past.
to make decisions.
That's a huge.
That's huge. Yeah.
It'll help you win bids.
Right.
And set you up for success from the start.
Yeah. And so thinking about like
Yeah.
this gold seal certification,
Uh-huh.
it really seems like
They're looking for people who
they want people
who really understand
who understand this stuff.
project management
Yeah.
and strategic planning.
Not just like managing tasks.
Right. It's not just about like it's bigger picture.
Checking off the list.
Yeah.
It's about shaping the success
Yeah.
of your projects and your business.
Right.
That's what the gold seal is all about.
So if there's anyone listening,
Yeah.
whether you're like a super experienced construction manager
Mhm.
or you're just leading a team in any field,
Yeah.
I think this stuff is so valuable.
Absolutely.
Like clarity, accountability, continuous improvement.
Those are principles that apply everywhere,
Yeah.
not just in construction.
So I got to ask you,
Yeah.
if you could leave our listeners with like
Sure.
one question to think about,
All right. How about this?
what would it be?
How can you apply even just one of these steps?
Oh,
Like setting clearer expectations, tracking progress more closely,
okay.
or using documentation more strategically
Right.
to improve the performance of your
yeah.
team or the people that you work with?
Just one little tweak
Just one small thing
could make a big difference.
could make a huge difference.
Love it.
That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Right.
See you next time.
Sounds good.
All right. Take care.
You too.